Hello and welcome to Comic Book Wars, episode 9. I think we're at episode 9 now, right? We're at episode 9? I think we're at episode 9. This is the comicbookspeculation.com podcast, obviously. And I'm Jimmy Linguini. Tomorrow, we're launching a big contest on comicbookspeculation.com, so I hope you check that out and find out how to win this. I'm giving away about $600 worth of books, so you guys should be checking that out. But yeah, right now we're doing Comic Book Wars, so guys, introduce yourselves.
I'm Nico with comicbookspeculation.com. I do the weekend update.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm Keith, and just here for some moral support.
Yeah, Sleepy John is busy watching the Spider-Man Homecoming film tonight, so he might be here late, or he might not show up. Who knows? But we know where his priorities are. What's going on? This week seems to be a pretty heavy week, though, with new comic books. What are you guys thinking?
Yeah, I want to start with what will be the lamest spoiler warning in the history of comic books. I think everybody is well aware by now that this is the final issue of The Walking Dead. What they ended up doing was a square-bound $3.99 cover, and I have not had the opportunity to crack it open, but you are no longer able to purchase the subsequent issues that were solicited. 193 appears to be the end. So that's getting a little bit of play.
Well, yeah, if you open the book, it says the end, and then there's like a 2-page letter in it. So the other solicitations were just a ruse, so people didn't realize it was the end. Because, I mean, that would have been pretty big news if it said, like, if there were no solicitations for another 2 issues, right? So, makes sense. But, I mean, is this the end of The Walking Dead? Like, I would... in the letter, it says Negan lives, so I wouldn't be surprised if he put out, like, another spin-off series, or he did, like, something else in the world of The Walking Dead. But I think this is the end of the Rick story. What do you guys think?
I can't see it being the end. Considering what they have in the pipeline for AMC and movie wise, they're going to have to keep this going in conjunction with it. I would think. It's still a money train of some sorts, and if they continue to produce TV shows and the movies that they want to do, I would subsequently think that some kind of comic series would still be churning out as well.
Yeah, I didn't look, and I probably should have at the numbers, but there's no question that The Walking Dead is one of the most substantial shares of the Image market, with there not being a Walking Dead monthly series or a Saga monthly series. It's going to be real interesting to see what direction Image goes. It's been a long time since Spawn was the best-selling comic at Image. And I kind of wonder whether or not this will attract people to some of the newer titles, or if there are just too many new series launching for anybody to really hone in on any specific title.
But you really don't think Spawn is still a top 3 Image title?
Oh, absolutely.
Especially with Spawn 300, I'm sure that will be number 1, and the subsequent issues. But I don't know. I mean, they were fine before this, and I mean, they don't really make that much money off The Walking Dead. They only make 5% or whatever. So I don't think it would be
creator driven. Yeah, you said it.
But who knows? Who knows? But so I guess Image, not Image. Is it Image? I think Image is releasing another series this week. Well, they're releasing a few, but one with Netflix. They're releasing Space Bandits, which is the new Mark Miller series. And they have a limited to 3,000 variant that only costs retailers 75 cents a piece, which is interesting. So I'd like to see what that book starts doing on the secondary market, but I guess we'll see tomorrow.
Were you allocated?
Yeah, I ordered 30 copies, and they only got 4.
Yeah, I got 10% of my order from the shop that I ordered them from. I didn't order directly from Diamond.
Well, if they only ordered 3,000 copies, or they only made 3,000 copies, and yeah, there's what, 2,000, 2,500 comic book stores, so there's going to be allocations on that for sure. That's what usually happens with the PX variants as well for San Diego Comic-Con. The ones that you can only get through Diamond, there's usually allocations there as well. But it's interesting.
Yeah, now there's one other independent series that I think you and I have talked about, Sea of Stars, that Jason Aaron book. That's also an Image book, and it looks interesting. There's a number of different covers. You were telling me something about
yeah, it's something like it's about like a space trucker, but there's two covers. There's the regular cover, and then there's like a cover B by Mike Mignola from Hellboy, and that's a pretty solid cover.
Yeah,
and
now the big book is what?
Well, there's an Ashcan, right? Like an Ashcan preview that they gave away at Heroes Con to retailers, and that one's selling for like $50 to $100. So usually when the Ashcan goes for that much, it means the book starts heating up. I mean, that's what happened with Farmhand and a few other Image titles. So who knows?
Didn't that happen with Redneck as well?
I think so, yeah. Before it came out, there was a lot of heat behind it, and yeah, the Ashcans I think did heat up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the interesting part about that book is the con variant is that the alleged print run was what?
Well, I mean, some of the listings on eBay say that it was limited to 100. I don't know the accuracy of that, but that is definitely what some of the listings are saying. I don't know, but for sure they're selling. So it's something to be thinking about.
Now, one of the other books that I thought was interesting that I was able to get my hands on was this one. And apparently there's a new Deathstroke, female Deathstroke. Again, I haven't cracked it open.
What's the point of getting the books early if you're not going to read them before the podcast? So you know what's going on.
I was running a little late. I
would
would have. Yeah, I got stuck on the phone. Sorry about that.
So yeah, in that book apparently. So yeah, somebody texted me this earlier. Slade Wilson died like a few issues ago, maybe last issue. I don't know exactly, but he's dead. And his daughter Rose is trying to avenge him, and she finds out who kills him. But also she becomes Deathstroke again in this issue. So she was Deathstroke in Teen Titans 8, I think. That was the first time. And then her first appearance is Deathstroke 14 or something from 1993.
Deathstroke 15 was her first appearance.
15?
But
okay, there you go.
Didn't she become Ravager in that half issue? The Wizard half, or was that a different character I'm thinking?
Yeah, no, she was Ravager at one point. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's probably a book to be looking for, her first appearance, but we'll see how that builds up. I mean, I don't know if she's in the costume for one issue or if she becomes Deathstroke permanently. I mean, that's where you probably should have read the issue, Nico. But whatever, it is what it is.
Oh shit! You guys want to talk about?
And then there's also apparently there's another 2 secret variants this week. One of them is the Immortal Hulk has like a bloody thing, and I don't know what the other one is, but that's something to be thinking about. What do you think we should talk about?
Well, the book that is on everyone's tongue, the most controversial spec since Naomi #1, Marvel Comics Presents #6. 5, and apparently 1s are selling now too, which I find to be outrageous.
Oh, because that's the first appearance of like the villain that she like her #1 enemy or something.
I have absolutely no idea. I think the voiceover starts there. She narrates the story, so people are at least buying those copies. I don't know if they're getting any sort of bump on the secondary market value wise, but they're certainly moving copies on eBay.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw the last time I looked it up. The #7 is selling for like $70.
6.
#7?
Or the #6? Yeah, sorry. The #6 is selling for $70. Sorry.
That's right. That went up a couple bucks since. Well, I guess not since last night.
Well, I mean, they were selling for 40, and I was like, I'm not going to list this. I mean, we'll see where this goes. But I was surprised to see them going for 70.
Keith, tell us about your listing.
Oh, it lasted 9 minutes. It's gone.
How many books did you list at the same time?
Well, my LCS didn't have any copies of that, and the 5s were gone. A buddy of mine, he went on a mission, and he hands me four copies total, 3 of #5 and 1 of #6 on Sunday. I go, awesome, thanks. He goes, I got the same amount for myself. Now, they weren't perfect by any means, which is a shame because they're brand new books. The fives were, one was a 9.0, the other two were 9.2s, and the 6 was basically a 9.4. No shot at a 9.8 on any of these. I'm like, well, I could hold out. These might be $50 books each, or they could just drop like a rock. So I put them all up on eBay, and I got a best offer that I considered reasonable within 9 minutes, and I took it. They're already out the door. So I'm sitting on a $90 profit on the, after paying out, fees and the $20 in original investment. So I'm happy. Move on.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good turn of investment.
Yeah. Considering I was, digging a backyard out all day for 150.
Well, I mean,
I'll sell. I'll sell the 4 books for.
Well,
90.
he has Wolverine has what, 80 kids, and there's a lot of no spec on a lot of the first appearances of them, but it does seem like Marvel's really heavily pushing this new character. So
I picked up this today.
Who cares?
As a demonstration of how silly it is, the siblings.
You wasted $1, Nico.
Yeah, well,
I mean that's
hold
just
on.
one of the many.
That was right. That was just one of the many forgotten books. But my personal favorite is this
Forgotten
story
book. No,
arc.
they're not forgotten books. I mean, this is one of the
This
many
story arc.
ones of his children.
Do you guys remember this story arc?
Yeah, the first issue has another one of his kids.
Yeah. Well, hold on. No, it's so much better than that. This is the story arc where he kills all of his children. Like he kills a gaggle of them. It's like the plot of the book.
And it's written by Jason Aaron.
It's written by Jason Aaron, and still no one cares.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
but
that was my demonstrative effort. And see, you act like I don't care about the podcast. I think I'm like $10 deep on all of that.
Well, I mean, I think that's pretty cool. I didn't say you didn't care about the podcast. What is this? What's Arrow 1? Why should anybody care about Arrow 1?
I don't care about Arrow 1.
Okay. I'm just seeing Arrow 1 here. Arrow 1 comes out this week. There's a bunch of store variants, and I don't care.
That is, I think, Agents of Atlas nonsense. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'll pass on all of it. I almost picked up a B cover simply because it appeared on Sleepy's outline, and then I was like, why would I waste money on that?
And then DC's reprinting the Joker book by Azzarello and Lee Buscema under the Black Label series. I mean, I don't think that really, who cares?
Yeah,
do you care about that? Yeah, who cares about that? The one cool thing that I was hoping Sleepy John would be here for, because he knows more about this than I do, is that there's a new Star Wars series called Vader Down, and it has this bounty hunter character that's from the original Marvel series, and he comes to hunt down Darth Vader. So that's pretty cool, I think. But I can't remember the first appearance of him. It's a Star Wars. That would have been a good thing to know off the back of my hand, but yeah, really relying on John on that.
So, what's you guys' opinion on the Marvel Comics Presents 6?
I find it to be the most outrageous spec since Naomi #1. I think Naomi #1 is, by comparison, solid investment. And I think it's ridiculous that it's selling for $70. And I will sell them every chance I get, literally until I can't do it anymore. I will not keep a book for myself. And while I think Marvel's good at a money grab, and I doubt that they will write this story arc unless it's already written, where we find out that it's not Wolverine's daughter. By issue 12, when they
it is his daughter, because the writer confirmed that on Twitter, and I can't remember what the name was, but he gave a name and everything. So
that's nice. Yeah, I still don't care.
Yeah,
I mean, is this following the same precedents that the Thanos 13, the all new Wolverine 2? It's like every couple months, people just gravitate towards some new character that has no history in the Marvel universe. And then all of a sudden it becomes a super hot book for a while. Like you got the first appearance of Gabby, the first appearance of Cosmic Ghost Rider. Then everyone was chasing Immortal Hulk's first appearance, who is Bruce Banner, a.k.a. Hulk. is too much being generated here out of first appearances and new first appearances.
Jimmy, do you have an
What?
opinion one way or the other?
No. I mean,
I think that it's clearly trash spec. And now,
well, yeah, but I
Marvel
mean,
could do
like
something great with it.
Marvel's really pushing the character, so it's not going away anywhere soon. And I think that's the important part. Where when you look at Naomi, Naomi's not really being pushed by DC in any way. It's being pushed by Bendis, and it's being pushed by like creative teams, but the publisher hasn't really gotten behind it. I think the 1 in 25 variant, and yeah, just Marvel giving him a name. I think that means that they're like putting a lot more behind it than you would think. So
do you think they're hold books, or
I feel like it's a book that's going to continue to go up, and people are going to keep wanting it because it's not a character like the character within the next 12 months is going to have its own series, I would assume.
Yeah, I can't imagine that Marvel Comics Presents series having a high print run either. So,
and when you look at Honey, it doesn't. That was the first issue that didn't have a 1 in 50 variant as well, which is interesting. But
there's a 1 in 50 of 5 drawn by everyone's favorite cameo star, Rob Liefeld,
but not issue 6. So yeah,
it's selling for about $200.
But yeah, in the next 12 months, she'll have her own series, and so did Honey Badger. And the first appearance of Honey Badger is what, like a solid $100 book? No, maybe less than that now.
It's like $40. Nobody cares.
It was like 60 to 80 at one point. But
that thing in 9.8 was selling at $200 at one point. Now it's I think
it's like $100.
That's why, like, I only have one copy, and that's why I'm probably going to hold on to it for now, because I could see this book at least going to $100 book in the next 2 months, maybe in the next 2 weeks. So it just depends on what Marvel ends up doing with it, and it looks like Marvel's doing a lot. So who knows? Nico, you had something else to say? No?
Nah. I'm done with Marvel Comics Presents 6. Look, I mean, it's hard for me not to take profit and run when it's that easy. That being said, I'm sitting on like 40 short boxes of stuff that I like haven't properly listed on eBay. And probably have like a total of 30 books listed on eBay right now. So I'm more inclined to dump new stuff quick, take that money and buy something that I feel comfortable sitting on. But different people have different speculation strategies, different buying and selling strategies. And if I was doing more listings, I could see the allure of maybe sitting on it longer, but that being said, for me, it's just not that interesting. The character didn't appear that interesting, like glowing claws on a female Wolverine. I'll pass. If it had kind of a captivating story, like I enjoyed the Cosmic Ghost Rider story out of Thanos, then maybe. But I haven't really been too captivated by Marvel Comics Presents numbers 1 through 6. If I was, I think maybe I'd have a different perspective.
Yeah. What do you think of what's going on with Golden Age this week?
There's lots of cool auctions. I'll just kind of run through some of them that I think are the most interesting. So Matt Baker, obviously is everybody's favorite good girl artist. There was a CGC 4/5 off-white copy of JoJo Comics number 25 that sold for $1,400.
I went after that last night.
That says a lot.
Yeah, I topped out at 1,000 though. I wasn't sure what the market was on it, but that's a great book.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous cover. I mean, absolutely gorgeous cover. And Matt Baker is, I think, without question, the premier Golden Age artist. People are buying romance books just to get a little Matt Baker love. I was shocked at that kind of result. I thought, like yourself, it would go for about $1,000. maybe 12. But all of these books just keep ticking up, and that's a live auction result.
It was a well presenting copy though too. I mean, it wasn't a funky 4 or 5 by any means.
Yeah. Here's another one that I think, and now that's also a bondage cover for those that aren't familiar with the cover. I think that adds obviously to the book. Do you have a copy you're going to go get?
Yeah.
There we go. Keith, the best Golden Age guest in the world, because he can literally pull the books out and show them to us.
No, I don't have that many.
All right, hold it a little bit higher. Oh, Lord have mercy. Is she pretty?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I picked this up last year at a convention. Unfortunately, the staples were rusted completely through, and I had to change the staples on it. So I was trying to get a complete universal copy. But hey, guys, you got to excuse me for 2 minutes. I have something ending that I got to try win. I'll be right back.
All right, so the next book is Startling Terror Tales number 11. It's an LB Cole cover. That's a classic cover. It's a spider with a skull head on it, and then there's a woman in distress. This particular copy was raw, and it was missing the centerfold, and it still went for nearly $1,000 in the live auction. We're talking about the Terror Tales 11 that went last night with the missing centerfold for almost $1,000.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's a gorgeous cover. Everybody loves LB Cole. He really has taken off in the last year or two. All of his books have been appreciating much in the same rate that Matt Baker books appreciated in the years beforehand. I mean, they've just been going through the roof, and that's one of the premier covers. Another LB Cole pre-code horror that's a super big book is the Blue Bolt 112. A copy of that in CGC 4.5 condition sold for about $750 in a live auction. Those Blue Bolt books have been getting hotter and hotter, and it's interesting. It's like we see more and more of these premier books popping up on eBay, as opposed to having to chase them on Comic Link or Comic Connect or at Heritage. And I think that that's really happened like a heck of a lot more in the last year or so. The other super cool Golden Age auction result that I think is really fascinating, because there's just been a ton of Batman Golden Age books that have popped up on eBay since the announcement of the new film. The one that was just, one of those like, oh my, kind of results is a Detective Comics number 33. That's Batman's origin story. It's the first time it was ever told. And a CGC 1.5 copy of Detective Comics number 33 sold for $27,500. And it was a gorgeous cover. And again, we don't usually see those kinds of big books on eBay, but we've seen more and more of them. I mean, recently, for example, somebody put a 9.2 or a 9.4 of X-Men 1 on eBay, and I was just kind of shocked at that result. The other big sale is not a Golden Age sale, but this week there was a FF1 CGC 2.5 that moved for $9,000. And I think we've seen over the course of the last year or so that Fantastic Four has kind of returned to the top of the mountain as the premier Marvel Comics run, with just countless keys in it. So you've got, of course, the first Doctor Doom, the first Black Panther, the first Silver Surfer, again and again. While you were gone, we were talking about the Tech 33 that sold for $27,500.
Wow.
CGC 1.5.
Wow.
And the other book that we were talking about was the FF1 that was a CGC 2.5 that moved for $9,000. And what I had indicated is I think that the Fantastic Four, at least over the course of the last year, has become like the run in Marvel Comics with all the keys. I mean, Adam Warlock, Black Panther, Silver Surfer, Doctor Doom, plus the number one.
It was forgotten about
Namor
for so
and four.
long. It was forgotten about for so long. Yeah. The problem, I think, with Fantastic Four, I mean, they were the premier book to have. You know, back in the 60s, 70s, you know, the Kirby run is, you know, legendary. You know, what is it, all the way up to issue 102 or whatever?
Yeah.
101 or
Something like
102, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
The stories are incredible. You know, it's just an amazing run. Once you get later in the run, there's not a lot of memorable stories. You don't have a lot of the classic storylines that you can find, like with Spider-Man or X-Men or a lot of other characters that, you know, held people's attention and kept them there. I mean, the John Byrne run now is getting some attention, but, you know, a couple of years ago, no one cared about anything, you know, from FF 100 up, basically, you know, with the exception of a few issues. And it's nice to see that people are revisiting that and seeing all the potential that was there, you know, all this time. Oh, by the way, I won my auction, guys.
Nice.
Thanks
What did you get?
Old label Green Lantern 59.
Yeah, I mean, I think Fantastic Four like came to the, not because of the movies, but more because like the movie rights weren't right there, so that's why they moved forward with like Spider-Man and Iron Man and all these other movies that you wouldn't really think of at the time. But I mean, now they seem like no-brainers, but at the time they weren't really thought of too keenly, so who knows. But yeah, those Fantastic Four runs are there's some incredible books in there. Is that it for your Golden Age books, Nico?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the roundup of the key auctions that we've had in the last like 5 days or so that really stood out to me. I mean, there were.
I mean, do you think Fantastic Four is on a rebound because Marvel hinted that like that Spider-Man webbing thing?
No, it's like the perfect storm, right? So we got Adam Warlock getting a lot of heat because of the Cocoon popping up in Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther being the premiere movie that Marvel's released. I mean, it's the one that got the Academy Award nomination for Best Picture. Then you've seen all kinds of heat on FF4 because Namor is allegedly potentially going to be The Rock. Then with the acquisition...
Wait, what?
Well, people are talking about Dwayne Johnson playing Namor.
Okay, that won't happen.
Perhaps not, but I think the idea that they're going to bring him in either via Black Panther or Doctor Strange, you know, much in the same way that they did.
But both of those, he can't be Doctor Strange or Black Panther. What are you talking about?
Just that they would introduce the character.
I don't see it happening.
Well, a lot of people do, regardless of whether or not you and I do.
Could you imagine him as Doctor Strange?
Or Black Panther? I mean, I'd be down for either.
The Rock would have been a good Black Panther.
No, he's not a good actor. What are you talking? He's just the same. Bland.
He's got a lot of personality.
He's just the same.
He does the people's eyebrow and the people's elbow.
Okay.
Both. Anyway, and then, you know, the acquisition of the title by Marvel has caused everybody and their brother to start paying about $1,000 a point for the first appearance of Doctor Doom. The first FF book is up to, you know, almost $3,000 a point. That whole series has just kind of taken off. And it's been like a confluence of a lot of different circumstances that's created that.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite issue is still the Hate Monger issue. I don't know if you've read that one. It's like I think it's like issue 20 something.
21.
No.
Yeah, it's where the Fantastic Four fights this guy in a purple KKK outfit, and they like they kill him at the end, and then they have like a Scooby-Doo moment where it's like, oh, who was this guy? And they pull off his mask, and it was Hitler all along. And you're like, what?
Jesus.
Fantastic Four killed Hitler? So,
All right, I can get
but
behind
then,
that.
like, that character's still in the Marvel Universe, which I always find comical. But if you read that issue, it's a great issue because it's Kirby does the art. I think Stan Lee writes it. But yeah, I mean, they kill Hitler, and it's a great issue.
Sounds wonderful.
But
what I was
that's
gonna
about it for my
say,
Fantastic Four knowledge. Sorry, Keith.
What I was going to say real quick. Now, this is completely obvious. I expect probably stupid comments in the comment section about this. But Fantastic Four 48 and 49, I actually thought these books plateaued for a little bit because they took the Hulk 181 train and kept going, and then all of a sudden they kind of just stopped and just stayed where they were. I just looked at the prices on FF48 graded on GPA, and my jaw dropped.
Wow.
They went up, on a 6.5 and above. A 6.5 last time I tracked it was about 1,500. Now it's 2,100 for 6.5.
Wow.
A 7.5 is 3,100 for a 7.5.
Jesus.
And
I passed on a raw book that was every bit of a 7.0 for 2K because I was a tight ass.
An 8.5, 5K.
Wow.
Yes, I didn't think that book had it in it for an 8.5 to get to 5K that fast.
People argue that's Kirby's best story. Is that what you think, or?
I can't argue against it. Have you ever actually read it? I'm not being funny.
No, yeah. I certainly haven't read issue 23, the hate monger one, but yeah.
I don't know
21.
21.
21, there you go.
Yeah. No, that's all right. I'll keep you straight, buddy.
Yeah, I mean,
but yeah,
dude,
the 48 through 50. I mean, that was what a lot of people consider that they were in their prime in that series. Was right around there. It's been a while since I read it, but I remember it. It's more I can say about a lot of stuff.
Pacing with the 48?
The 49, I think, is actually sort of outpacing it because it was so undervalued to begin with.
Wow.
And people like that cover a lot more because it's the first Silver Surfer on cover. It's both of them are classic covers, in my opinion. But there's a lot more going for the 49. No, it's definitely not a Hulk 180, 181 argument by any means. 48 is the book. It'll always be the book. But 49 is not the redheaded stepchild. It's a little brother. And it's gaining a lot of traction. The problem with that book is 48 was a warehouse find. 48, they have documentation that it was a warehouse find. So there's a lot of copies in high grade.
Super high grade.
Yeah, that's why you see the disparity of 48 and 49 when you look at a 9.8 price, like a 48. And I'm just throwing numbers out. I haven't, I don't generally keep track of a 9.8 price of a 48 because it's just well beyond my means. But hypothetically, let's say it's 20,000 or 30,000. The 49, 9.8, because I think there's only one in existence, is like 150,000. But that's because there's only one. There's multiple copies of the 48. That being an all black cover, 9.8, 9.6, 9, even 9.4 is a very tough find.
Yeah, 9.8. The last sale was 31,000, and the 12-month average is 34,000.
Okay.
But the last sale was in December for 9.8.
Okay.
And then I can look up 49 as well. If that matters to you.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I have GPA, but I'd have to keep switching.
Yeah, no, and then 49. There was only one sale, and it was 48,000, and that was in 2016. So it's probably like a $60,000 book now, minimally. I would assume.
That's why I got the 48. I for some reason thought.
And then I mean, there was a 9.6, like 196 sold in 2018. Yeah, that's a rare book. Both of those books, hard books in 9.6 and 9.8.
My numbers were incorrect, and I apologize. But thank you for pulling up the GPA.
No, I mean, I didn't know that. I didn't know there was a warehouse find, and I didn't know that. That's why there was such a discrepancy. But that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did know that, but I think it's because you told me. What do you guys want to talk about next?
Okay, so we did Nico's Golden Age watch. I guess we have to move on to media. What's going on with Swamp Thing? I heard that there was a possible movie in the works. You think that's
so
real?
I don't know. That's leaked out from 2 different sources now. And it's interesting. And I'm not sure if that explains the cancellation of the television series, if those are different divisions within Warner Brothers, or what exactly is going on there. But shortly after news of the cancellation hit, that information leaked out on, like a Hollywood kind of news, kind of not news site. And then the other source that you guys turned me on to, I think actually Sleepy turned me on to, came out with the same information a couple weeks later, which is how it made the outline. If that's accurate, the question then becomes, will John Constantine be featured in the film? Will Zatanna be featured in the film? Are they setting up Justice League Dark? Is this going to be a standalone film? What direction are they going to take it? The television series has been incredibly well received, and it's certainly interesting for me. I think less than Swamp Thing spec, I'm more interested in Zatanna spec and John Constantine spec, simply because I think nobody's paying attention to either of those books at all right now. What do you guys think?
I haven't watched the TV show, but it's canceled, right? So there's not going to be a second season. So I'm not. I don't think there's a lot of speculability on theirs, or like a lot of books that you can speculate on. But if there's a movie, then I could see that the books might heat up again. But I'm not sure the validity of the movie rumors. You know what I mean? But I would definitely watch it. I don't know.
Yeah, I should keep a copy of House of Secrets that was incredibly overpriced by a retailer. I think they were just,
my goodness, yeah.
yeah, I think they just overgraded it, and I don't know. What do you think they wanted? About 200% of market price for it?
Almost, because I gave you my opinion. It is roughly a 6.0, and I valued it roughly
about
around
$1,200.
11 to 13. Yeah,
yeah.
I think offhand, the top of my head. And that's CGC price, not actual raw.
Roll the dice price.
Exactly. Right. And considering where you were going to be buying it from, you just never know.
Yeah, hard pass. There could be color touch that
exactly.
No, like I wasn't going in there with a black light, and I know they didn't look, unfortunately. But
I did appreciate how you said that you were going to offer $500 on a $1,200. I'm sorry, on a $2,000 book, and see what happened.
That.
Like,
no. I offered $500 on the ASM 129. It was about a $700 book.
I misunderstood that. I thought you were offering $500 for the both of them. Like,
I was in for
luck,
a grand. No, I was in for a grand on the 92, the House of Secrets 92, and about $500 on the $700 copy of ASM 129, which I thought was a gift. But I've actually never owned a copy of ASM 129, so I was willing to kind of overpay. Why are you shaking your head at me?
Well, you never watched Coyote Ugly? You never saw the end scene and was like, "Yeah, I need that book." Why are you looking at me like nothing? Like, see, you're thinking in your head, I've seen that movie, but you have no idea what I'm talking about, do you? Maybe you should rewatch. Maybe you should rewatch that movie, and you'll know what I'm talking about. I think Heath understands what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I do get the reference.
So Jupiter's Legacy started filming their TV show apparently, which is cool, I guess. I mean, I don't think any of the books have started moving again, but I mean, that's interesting news to have.
Yeah,
I guess
what were the good variants on that? Was there any? I can't remember offhand.
There's a 1 in 10 I think.
Is that a black and white?
Yeah, of the Frank Quietly. I think
no, it's the one that's got color on it.
No.
Yeah, well, it's a black and white sketch with like smidges of color.
Okay.
And then there's a Midtown, and a Forbidden Planet store variant that both got a little bit of attention. And then the one that has not gotten much attention at all is the Ghost variant.
Yeah, I would stay away from the store variants and just focus on that ratio.
I tend to agree.
Because I mean,
the other ones are
Image
overpriced.
doesn't overprint their stuff, so you don't see like they don't do clearance sales and stuff. So I think those books are probably the ones to go for. But I mean, the print run's going to be high because it was optioned before it came out, and everybody was expecting it. So
it's Millar.
Yeah, who knows?
I mean, you know, that being said, you know as well as I do that they've paid Mark Millar enough money, Netflix has, that they're going to sink a ton of money into this TV series, and they're going to support the hell out of it. I mean, they'll advertise the hell out of it. So I think there's going to be a window to move books. I don't know about the longer-term investment appeal of it, but it's certainly a book that I'm not passing up in dollar bins. I grab the ones every time I see them, and I got a ton of them.
Do you know who owns the rights to this?
Netflix.
Now, does Netflix own the rights? So we're not going to have the same problem like, you know, with Marvel just taking their toys and going home, basically?
No, because Netflix purchased purchased Miller World altogether. So they own all the rights to everything that wasn't already optioned. If that makes sense. I don't know what that means for I don't know what that means for Kick-Ass and the Kingsman and Wanted. I'm not sure exactly what it means for those three, but those were the other three that were optioned that were in development at some point. So I'm not sure if those are included, but everything else that he's done is, I guess.
Cool.
Yeah. I guess like the news that strikes me is like that DC is moving forward with the Flash movie, because I mean there were rumors that Ezra Miller was out and that they were abandoning their whole plan of doing like a DC universe or a film universe. So I guess they have a new director and a new person writing the script, Nico?
Absolutely. So for those that are Ezra Miller fans, apparently he will continue in the role as the lead character. They have at least tapped and are trying to finalize negotiations, according to the Hollywood Reporter, with the director for the film It. Now, remember, there's a sequel to the film It that's about to launch, so hopefully this will be the next, on that guy's plate. He and his wife are going to executive produce with a guy whose first name escapes me, but whose last name is Disco, which I thought was interesting. And then
is that why you just emphasized it?
Yeah, it's a great last name. I don't know if he changed it or not, but like it's a great last name. And then what's a little less comforting is that the woman who wrote the screenplay for Birds of Prey is who's going to either clean up the Ezra Miller, Grant Morrison screenplay, rewrite, and or draft a screenplay of her own. I don't know. Perhaps Birds of Prey will be a better film than it appears like it's going to be. I'll certainly try to go in with an open mind, but I was... what's the word I'm looking for? It's the same person who wrote the movie Bumblebee. I was a little less
which made millions with it, which made it an incredible amount of money, didn't it like revitalize the Transformers franchise?
That was the initial response, and then I don't know, there's been kind of like mixed reviews about whether or not they're gonna do an Optimus Prime sequel or a Bumblebee sequel, and I think they settled in on doing a Bumblebee sequel.
Yeah, but it made like over $100 million profit, right? So
there's no question about it.
It should be good. I mean,
the greatest part of that movie was actually seeing the Autobots in their original forms. That was like the greatest thing. It's like what every Transformers fan wanted to see from the beginning.
Yeah, so I don't know if they can keep doing that, it should be good.
Got my fingers crossed, man.
So I mean, obviously,
you guys want to talk about Flash books?
What Flash books are there that haven't already heated up?
Well,
what books do you think there are for Flash?
I mean, that's kind of the thing.
Have they given any direction of where the movie was going?
None at all, right? So I don't know that we'll necessarily see giant spikes on any of like the Silver Age keys as a result of it being a major motion picture. I mean, he's appeared on the big screen before. There may be some natural incremental growth there, but what I kind of want to discourage people who are listening from doing is going and spreading out money on like minor keys. I think the better move, if you want to sink some money into Flash now in anticipation of this film, is to go after things like, for example, the first Silver Age Flash, which is a big book, or to a lesser extent, the cover where it's the first Golden Age and Silver Age Flash. The first time they meet, the first Earth 2. I can't remember the number.
Who's he gonna fight? That's what you got to be thinking about. Who is his nemesis? I mean, Flash
Well,
only really has like
Zoom,
one guy, right?
First Zoom, right?
Yeah. So, and Zoom is isn't there like a more recent first appearance of Zoom in the last like 15 years?
Yes, I think it was Flash number 197, and then there was also that Secret Files number 3, which Dr. Zoom or something to do with Zoom.
I feel like those books are really easy. Well, not easy, but those are books that you might be able to find in the wild, whereas some of these Silver Age and Silver Age keys are kind of unobtainable to a certain degree.
I'm pretty good at hunting at dollar bins, back issues, and stuff like that. In the last 4 years, I found 2 copies of Flash 197 in the back.
Yeah, I've never found any.
Yeah, that thing is on everyone's radar. It never comes around. Then there was also I don't know that this would even be considered for movie, but there was also that what was it, that Black Flash or whatever storyline, 138, 139 to 141 or whatever. That it was hot like a year and a half ago or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know like they had rumors that it would be based on Flashpoint or whatever, and we all know that's not happening. So who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I guess that's.
Well, if it's true that they're going to introduce Supergirl and give her her own film, do they do Crisis?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. They'd need Superman for that, no?
They would absolutely need Superman.
So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they can do it, but who knows?
That would be one way of explaining how they wipe out all the DC movies that they put forth so far.
Yeah, they'd have to do
time to start over, clean slate.
I guess the other big news that came out this week, DC wise, which is weird because it kind of coincides with like this Vertigo line being canceled news. Netflix is making a Sandman TV show.
I'm super excited. Cool.
So, I mean, it's been rumored that it was great. It would get optioned eventually. And I think that's what maybe helped Sandman 1 stay at such a high level for so long. But now it's apparently really happening. So, Nico, you have anything else to say about that?
Hell yeah. Sandman 1 was a $250 book in 9/8 for a long time. I think at least on one occasion, if not more, we talked about how important it was to try to pick up copies of those books for $250 on the podcast and in the weekend update, that it was a classic book and that it was never going to depreciate in value. They've been selling in the $400 range. The last time I looked, there wasn't a copy under $600. The Sandman number 8s, the first appearance of Death, have not really had a price adjustment, but again, those books are unavailable on eBay for less than $450. The editorial variant is the It book there, and that's a real interesting story for how those books were released. There were apparently about 600 copies that were allegedly inadvertently distributed at a signing, two signings in California. And so some of those books are signed, some are not, and they are super duper hard to find. There's also at least 3 other books that are big dollar books. The number 18 Error blue panel book is super hard to find. If you see people selling raw copies of that book, demand to open the book and make sure that it's actually the blue panel variant. The 19 was not recalled like 18, so it's a little, that's not true. It's a lot cheaper. And basically it's a page miss up. Again, if you see somebody advertising it, you're thinking about buying it, open the books. A lot of times people just don't know what they're doing. I've tried to buy copies of those books before, opened them up, and then they weren't the copies of those books. And, you know, I was just kind of like, "Nah!" from the dealer, but I got saved. The other one that was, for a long time, thought to not even exist is the 75-second print. You can, 75 is the last issue of the series. You can tell real easy that it's a second print because the indicia is on the UPC box. As opposed to saying direct edition, it says second print. And then the book that I like, perhaps the best is like a cheap spec book, is the, and I'm going to screw up the name of it, but it's the Death Sex Awareness book. If Death is as popular a character on the television series as she is to collectors and fans of the comic series, then she'll be the premier character out of the whole TV show. And she'll be the object that of everybody's, you know, like, let's do a spinoff, let's do a spinoff. Those were like 1994, 92. You can figure it out on eBay. They're like $5–10 small size pamphlets. They're generally in horrific condition, and basically they have John Constantine wearing a trench coat, popping out a banana from his trench coat, and Death in a very awkward conversation saying like, sex can be neat, but some people have AIDS from IV drug use and unsafe sex. And then she teaches John Constantine how to put a condom on a banana. And I think that book is super cool. And again, this brings me full circle to the John Constantine spec move, because nobody's paying attention to him. If Sandman survives, Constantine will be part of that series, and you can potentially get him from two different angles, either through Swamp Thing or through Sandman. And I think that again, nobody's paying attention to this first appearance in Swamp Thing. That 9.6 used to be like a $400 book, and now you can get it for like $250 if you want, even though the 9.8s are impossible to find.
Could be.
Anybody got anything else they're thinking about with Sandman?
I didn't hear anything you had said for like.
I talked about
I had to reboot everything, so I don't know what you said, buddy.
Okay, I talked about the 1, the 8.
What the? Now Jimmy's gone.
He might have to go to the bathroom. I talked about the 1, the 8, the I'm going to screw up the numbers now. The 18 and the 19, the two error.
The two errors, yeah.
And then I talked about the 75-second print.
Yeah,
and the banana.
Who cares? Like the banana book is an okay novelty, and it's sold well. Like it has waves, but I mean, who cares? Let's be.
I like it.
What about 22? First Daniel.
There we go.
And then isn't there a Swamp Thing book that where there's a first appearance as well? Like it's like the first appearance of the Dreamer or something, or like the third Dreamer or something.
Yep.
I don't know.
There's the first Lucifer. He'll appear in the first arc. I hope we get the same character that's already on Netflix. I think that'd be super cool.
We won't.
Another thing I found out recently is that 22 is the first appearance of Masakine.
Oh wow!
Yeah, cool. I never knew that. Yeah, I just found that out recently. Do you think I don't know what you said before? Like I said, do you think that they're going to be able to cross over from whoever has the rights to do the movie, because you're talking about possibly doing, both, or being able to have some kind of crossover or whatever with Netflix having.
It's an 11 series. Warner Brothers indicates that this is the most amount of money that they've ever spent on a television series ever. They're going to put it on Netflix. Lucifer's already on Netflix. Why wouldn't you throw Lucifer on there?
Because it doesn't make sense to do that at all.
It would just be a prior.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense. So it won't happen. It doesn't make any sense.
Just a prior Damian Morningstar.
No, it's not happening.
Make me happy.
So San Diego Comic-Con, what happens next week or in 2 weeks? We got time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because
yeah, there's a ton of stuff going on at San Diego Comic-Con.
I think we should wait on that because I mean we don't know anything yet, and it is what it is. What's going on with Joe Hill though? I know you talked about that on your weekend update review thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's getting his own series of books on the Black Label, and I'm pretty excited about that. I think Wraith has been pretty well received, even though the comics are stone cold. The television show has been a commercial success, and I'm really excited for Lock and Key. The Lock and Key number 198 went from, again, being like $250 books to like $500 books over the course of the last couple of months. Yeah. And, you know, people got diehard Joe Hill fans out there. So there's, you know, guys like myself that just enjoy what he's done with comics. He will readily admit that comics are his first love. And I think he's going to continue to produce comics. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I haven't really read anything of his that really sparked my interest, but we'll see with this.
You don't like Lock and Key?
No.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. But who knows? Who knows? I think that's really all we had though for this week. Am I wrong? Yeah, that's all we have for this week because nothing's coming to your mind. Keith,
nothing.
Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it, and you're really informative, and you obviously know what's going on. I mean, you said you didn't know anything about modern comics, or at least you haven't been following the last few weeks. But I mean, you obviously know what's going on. Like, whatever, dude. Oh, I sold all these Marvel Presents 5 and 6. Like, whatever, guy.
Yeah, you ready? Hold on. You ready?
Wait a minute. I had my buddy do all the dirty work.
Hey, wait. I think I got that book you're talking about on the Golden Age watch. Yeah, let me just go get a copy of that for you. The one that just sold for $1,400. It's over here. I got a raw copy. I don't really like the way it presents though, so I'll just go get that.
Well, no, those weren't printed that great, but I really appreciate you joining us. I'm sure Nico does, and
absolutely.
I think next week we're gonna actually know what's going on with the Spider-Man movie, apparently. Because
hey, Nico, if you want me to guest appear or whatever, give me the itinerary. Don't tell me like 5 minutes after the podcast is about to start, buddy. You know.
Well, I mean, realistically, that was John's fault. Well, I mean, that was mine and Nico's fault because John told us he was going to be in the Spider-Man movie, and I just didn't read the message. So it's completely, it's 100% my fault. You completely saved the day on this. So thanks again for joining us. Tomorrow or this week, we'll be announcing a big contest on comicbookspeculation.com that you should be checking out. And again, I just thanks for joining us. We'll catch you guys next week.
Namaste, ninjas.